welcome, Nicholas. I invited you on to have a chat because um, I noticed that there's a whole bunch of tools and projects that use Sift and Gripe, and yours was the first one I found, and it looked great. I'd never heard of Megalinter before, and so I'm
Oh,
hoping you can tell me all about it. So, like, if you want to give a brief introduction to yourself, and then we'll kind of dive into things and freestyle it through the rest of the webinar.
yeah, sure. I prepared some slides. Do you want them? Or
Wonderful, wonderful.
I like to have a support. So am I allowed to share a screen? Yes, I am. So I will share my screen. I will share my support. If it works, let's swap. Is it okay? Do you see?
Perfect, perfect, absolutely
Perfect.
perfect.
So I think your question, because I think it's obvious my English is very Frenchy. So sometimes I look like I understand, but I don't understand exactly. But you asked me to introduce myself, something like that.
It's better than my French, that's for sure. So, yes.
Uh, okay, but so introduce myself. I am Nicolas. I am 40 years old, kind of old, but there is a long time I code. So started on a Commodore coding in QBasic when I was 10, and decided to make that my job because I think we are one of the lucky ones who can live from our passion. So why not doing it? And so I started as junior developer, and now I am CTO of Cloudity, which is a Salesforce integrator partner. So basically, lot of things on Salesforce, but also not because with Salesforce we have to integrate with basically everything. So it's a very interesting and sometimes challenging job. And so even if I am CTO, I still have a lot of architect mindset. Um, and because I also love open source, so when I don't work for to pay my rent, I spend my time creating tools just for the pleasure to see other people using it. And one of these tools in Megalinter that we will discuss about today. But I also make other tools like npm Groovy Lead. So for people who code in Groovy, which is kind of it's a JVM based language. So my first open source project was npm Groovy Lead, and I also author SFDX Redis, which is a DevOps and productivity tool around the Salesforce ecosystem. So, but I do a lot of things. So people can click on my GitHub and give a start on all my repositories because we all love stars on repositories.
Absolutely.
Uh,
It's
and
imperative that we all go around
yes,
starring each other's repositories. It's how the world works, right?
and dear viewers, after having given stars on my repositories, don't forget to give stars on Encore repositories on Sift and Gripe tools.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And even if I am sometimes victim of angst, like lot of people, lot of techies, I can suffer from imposter syndrome or anxiety or whatever. But to fight that, I decided to also become international speaker, and I can speak about many things, mostly on Salesforce today, but not only at the other side of the world. So it's also something I like, and also webinars from time to time. So I think that's me. I also like guinea pigs. I live with two guinea pigs, and sometimes I wear shirts with them. So in the Salesforce ecosystems, I am known as the guinea pig guy. You have to know it. But
Wonderful.
I like to join serious people and serious things and fun stuff because we are technical people. And let's be honest, when we talk about technical things, sometimes people fall asleep. So to try to keep them alive and awake, I try to make a little bit entertaining the technical stuff I can talk about.
Absolutely. Awesome. I find it interesting. Yeah, I wonder if we might touch on the baptism of fire that is overcoming challenges by just diving straight into them. Maybe we'll get time for that if or if someone asks a question later, we'll get to that. So wonderful. I didn't really introduce myself, but I'm director of DevRel at Anchor, and I work with the open source team on some of their tools, Sift and Gripe, which we will come back to a little bit later. And I really wanted to talk to you because, I understand that Megalinter is a massive tool and it's a massive project by the look of it. And we play a little supporting role as Sift and Gripe within that ecosystem of tools that you've brought together under one banner, which I think is wonderful. So yeah, I guess we should dive into Megalinter and you tell us all about it.
Sure. But I really think my tools are much more interesting than me, but I had to introduce myself. And just between us, you are living my dream because I think you live from open source, and it's not anyone that can be lucky enough to do that. So respect and admiration for you, because creating a company which is based on open source and live from it, it's really admirable from my point of view.
Awesome.
So let's talk about linters quickly, just because we are about to talk about Megalinter. So first, before what is Megalinter, what is a linter? So let's get a little bit back to the basics. And a linter is for what? It's for first optimization, because it's not because your code works that it's clean, optimized, performant, or scalable. So why not using one of the hundreds of tools that can analyze your code base for you and tell you when you do something wrong. So now there is AI. Linters have been invented before AI, but I think even with AI, linters still have a good place in a developer ecosystem. And also, as developers, we like things to work, nice code, etc. But we have to provide documentation with what we do because our users, they need to have guides or whatever. And when something is full of mistakes, like when a French guy tried to write in English, it's always good to have something that will tell you by your documentation, mistake, dead link, whatever. So having clean documentation is something really important. And so we cannot all become major in English. So why not using tools for that? But also linters, it can also help you to improve your own level, because when you learn, I don't know what language do you code in, Alan?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. I'm trying to. Sorry, my camera goes off after every 30 minutes. So I've used. I consider myself a coder, not a software developer. However, recently I've been writing a lot of Python. I've just been dipping my toes into Rust, and that's quite a step change from Python. But I really enjoy the speed at which I can crank something out and answer a question with Python. So yeah, that's my favorite at the moment.
I love Python too. And anyway, Megalinter is written in Python.
Oh, brilliant.
I learned Python. If Megalinter is my hello world in Python. I wanted to do the language that anyone knew, and I used to do a lot of Node.js, another language. I say, why not Python? Everybody is talking about it. Why not learning it? And when you learn a language, so you find some tutorials, you write code, it works, etc. But with the linters, they will tell you how to write better. They will analyze your code, and they will tell you that maybe something that you do in 3 lines, you can do it with one, with some operators that you didn't even know existed. So linters, they will also improve your own level by telling you how you can do things better and in a more unified style, recommended by the big heads of the languages. Usually, these are the person who write the linters and the rules associated to it. But also,
yeah, I have to say, when I was starting out with Python, in my IDE I turned on a linter, and I felt shamed by this thing that was telling me I got so many things wrong. But it was great because it was a way to, like you say, improve my code. And now I know how to do it properly. I might still make mistakes, but that's what the linter catches, right?
Yeah, exactly. And when you work as a team, uh, people like to have their own style. But I think, and I think I'm not the only one to think that, that saying I have my coding style is something stupid because you don't code for yourself. You code for the capability for your current colleagues, future colleagues, and even when you will leave the company and not maintain anymore the code base, you need people to be able to understand and the most quickly and simply your code base. So having your own style, it makes it more difficult. But if everyone has the same style, it's easier to maintain together a code base, and you can plan more easily, implement new features, etc. So the linters, they will also enforce a single code style for everyone. And security, hackers, they are everywhere. So and I think this will be also one of the topics today with Gripe at Sift. Security, usually people don't care because they don't see the return on investment. And when they are hacked, oh, if only I did check at the time. So why not just check the most common security issues, including on dependencies, uh, as soon as you are writing your code, and not once it is in production for 2 years and you have a strange logs or whatever. So this is what all the linters can do to any coder, any coding team. And also, because we are also in a business, cost. Technical debt, when you have a now full code base that you want to puke just when you read a single method that is 100 lines long or whatever, you are afraid to touch anything because you are afraid to break everything. So any enhancement on poorly written code base becomes more risky and expensive. So if you use linters from the beginning, or even after the beginning, you will not make disappear the technical debt because there are many forms of it, but you can control it. You can know when he's here. You can also because we all understand. Okay, we have to go live tomorrow, so we have to finish quick. Okay, but you can do something like a little bit quick and dirty. We all did it, but with the linters, they will tell you, okay, this you needed to go live, but every day the linter will remind you, this is dirty, please redo it. So, so the linters save you money because technical debt is expensive. But now everyone is totally convinced that any project should have linters. And really, I still sometimes meet developers that are developers for 10 years. And I tell them about Megalinter, and they say, oh, I don't know. I say, okay, Megalinter is not so big. It's okay to not know. And when I say, what linters do you use? They say, what? And I am kind of scared for their code base because I think it is a mess, anarchy, or whatever we can call it. So I am really convinced that any project of any technology should have linters and also security tools.
So I first encountered linters in the Ubuntu community when people are making Debian packages, and there are very strict guidelines for how you package software for Linux distributions like Debian and Ubuntu. And they have codified a lot of that. Not everything, but they've codified a lot of it, like where files go, what the structure of a copyright file. And, there's a lot of very strict rules. And by codifying that, you alleviate some of the workload on the archive maintainers because the onus is on the developer to submit a correct package first before it gets reviewed. So yeah, it's that was the first I'd really heard about them and seen them in action heavily.
Great. So when you want to set up linters, every linter usually they are run in command lines. So on each project, okay, so what are, so I go a little bit faster. What are my languages? So what, okay, my project, there is JavaScript, there is Python, there is whatever. So, okay, I am a good and efficient person. I know that I need linters, so I will have to go to check what are the best linters, more appropriate. And then I will have to configure each of them. And each of them has its own configuration file, has its own documentation that we will have to all browse. So for people who want to install manually all linters, there is a great site named analysistools.dev. I think it catalogs probably hundreds of linters who are ranked by popularity, comments, whatever. But it's a long work, it's complicated. For example, if you want to check dependencies of NPM packages or Python packages, you won't find gripe at the first second. You will probably find 25 results, 25 linters who claim that they do it, but which of them are the more popular, which of them are the more maintained, are there serious people behind? Because we are talking about open source. When you put a linter in your project, basically you have to trust the persons or the companies who build this code. Because if they add a new version, and in this new version, they take all your environment variables and send them to a server, like it happened to codecov.io some years ago, basically you can have major security breach. So you can do all this job by yourself, but and also you have to think about running them, so by command line. And if you forget to run the linter, but you can basically it's useless. So this is a long way. If you are a little bit lazy, you can say, why choosing myself and installing all the linters, whereas there are companies that provide services with kind of all-in-one. So I just noticed, I've written some of them. Probably the most popular is Sonar. So Sonar, basically, you want code quality, etc. You take Sonar, you have dashboard, etc. You can have any one of them, and they are great tools, but you have to pay. And sometimes people don't really want to pay or don't really want to open their code base to another company, because all these tools, they must have access to your code, your repositories. So you have to pay and you have to trust. So these are serious companies, so you can do that. But some people prefer open source, like me, maybe like you. And so when
Yeah,
you like
absolutely.
open source, that's why we're here.
Yes.
So when you like open source, you can, for example, if you look, there is something named SuperLinter. And SuperLinter, it is the ancestor of MegaLinter, and it is still existing. It has been initially created by the DevOps team of GitHub, the company GitHub, and they decided at some point to open source it. And when they decided to open source it, someday they added one of my linters, npm groovy lint. That's how I discovered them. And I was,
Right.
this tool is very interesting. So I started to contribute, to add new features, filtering, etc. But it was all written in Bash. So Bash can be cool, but at some point, I started to feel the limitations of Bash scripts with everything I wanted to do. And when I have ideas, I like to implement them. And so I made a big pull request on GitHub with, I refactored everything in Python. And I discussed with the maintainers, and the discussion has been long. It was not, oh no, we don't want that, etc. And some were pros, some were cons, and they were GitHub. I was no one. It was during COVID lockdowns, so I had a lot of time to spare. And after a lot of discussion, they told me, Nico, what you did really looks great. They even gave me some advice about how to make a cleaner implementation. They give me the idea of the YAML files for the descriptor. So it was really a good collaboration, but the author of Superlinter, who liked Bash, and I think he didn't know Python or whatever, he finally said, sorry, but we won't accept your pull request. But if you want to continue, you can fork. And I think you see where I am going.
Yes.
I forked. So I took my big refactoring pull request. A little bit sad because I am not pro forks. I like teams. I think when there is more people in one team working on the same stuff, it's better than splitting teams or whatever. But I really thought that I had something good, and I didn't. What I wanted to implement, it wasn't possible in Bash. Bash is for little bit of scripting, command lines, but there were a lot of copy paste, no factorization. Bash is not built to build an application. It's for
Right.
scripts.
You could certainly things like maths and string manipulation, or start processing, I don't know,
Yeah,
YAML
it's full
files
of
that have got
GPUs
quoted
everywhere.
text. Yeah,
And I
right.
also, because I am lazy, I want the more people possible to help me to maintain this stuff. And there are more people who know Python than Bash. The entry level for Bash, it's not an easy language. It's ugly, let's be honest. So voilà. So Megalinter has been created, and during 1 year, I was maintaining it alone. And one day, there was two guys that called me. They told me, hello, we are named Nitson and Lior. We are creating a company, but it's not public yet. But we saw your Megalinter, and we would like you and Megalinter to be part of what we are building. And so you can guess it was Ox Security. And so I started to work with these guys. They were 15. Now they are, I think they are 150. They have made fundraising, and there is Microsoft in the backers. They fundraised millions. They have big accounts. But I started, there were like 10 people in an apartment, something like that. They were in an incubator. And now it's big, big, big. But so that's why it is Megalinter by Ox Security, because
And
they provide.
this would have been July 2022 when you posted an amusing blog post on Medium. I'll drop it in the chat for those who are watching. That's titled "Megalinter
Megalinter
sells
sold
his
his soul.
soul."
Yeah.
Brilliant.
No, but really, they said, okay, let's work together. We had our logo, but we really share the same values about open source. And there was a guarantee that Megalinter would always remain free, that I keep all the control. And I kind of suck at design or whatever. So they had me nice design, etc. So it's a really nice collaboration.
Wonderful.
And so since, yes, sorry.
No, that's all. I was just saying that's good news. Good news.
And so Megalinter, basically, it can analyze any language, any project, and depending which CI/CD platform you are using, we have out of the box workflows ready to run. That I will show you in a demo after speaking so much a little bit later. So what's in Megalinter? Many linter for programming language, only the best one and very important maintained ones. It happens that we remove linters from Megalinter because, for example, you can see those two. I don't know if you see my mouse in the screen or not. So you can see this tube which is here. So this one is gripe and this one is sift. I don't remember the icons. And Megalinter, it is backed by a company whose business is security, and we also embed a security linter. So it is totally out of. We would be out of mind to let linters that have dependencies not up to date for 3 years. So it happens that when we see that a linter is less maintained, we directly contact the authors. Hello, is this repo still maintained? And seriously, yes. So, okay, we are waiting for you to update. No, sorry, but you are out of Megalinter because our community trusts us, and we cannot betray that trust. Because Megalinter is linked by Megalinter itself, but also
Of course, yes.
But also by Ox Security Service, and their business is application security posture management. So it's bigger than basically Megalinter. It uses files to make its analysis, so it's static analysis tool. But Ox Security is basically when you for example, when you create a Docker image, it will check that the Docker image that you generated from your workflow is the same as the one which is stored on the Docker Hub. It does much more. So what Megalinter doesn't find, Ox Security will. So that's why deprecated linters, sorry, but bye. And we also have formatters. So formatters, so like all the formatters you know, for example, Black for Python, etc. But also not for just languages, but also infrastructure as code languages like Terraform, like SnakeMake, etc. We also have security linters, of course. So one of the security linters is Gripe that will check for up-to-date dependencies. And just at the right of security, we have software bill of material. And this one is the job of Encore Sift. Sift or Sift? With my French, I don't know how to pronounce.
Yeah, Sift is fine. Yeah.
Perfect. And again, documentation, copy-paste, deglinks, whatever, because copy-paste, undepending the language, copy-paste is not a good idea. So we also detect copy-paste, and means you have copy-paste, you have to refactor because you have to think about maintenance, the future, etc. So we have a lot of linters in Megalinters, including Encore ones. And we only use, of course, open source linters. So the setup, I won't show you here because I will just make a demo, but basically to install Megalinter on any repository, you need just one line, npx megalinter runner install. I will show you after. And the result, you will see the results of Megalinter directly into your Git provider UI, thanks to CI/CD. So for example, here you see on GitHub, when you have Megalinter run on the GitHub workflow, you will have the results first in a comment as a UI, but also in the console log with the details. But you don't want to open a console log every time. So basically, you have the simple view and the detailed view. And I will also show you that in demo quickly. About the configuration, so Megalinter, it has more than 100 linters by default, but probably you don't want all of them. And you're right, because you basically, Megalinter is the tool, but you own the strategy that you want to use it. It's not because we have put 100 linters that, for example, you can say, I don't care about dead links, or I don't want them to block my pull request. You can say, for example, we have also redundant linter. You can have different, for Python, you can say, I use PyLint, but now there is a big trend about refactoring linters in Rust. So you have Ruf, which is kind of a clone of PyLint. But excuse me, I move because the light has disappeared. Maybe it will come back.
We can see you. It's fine.
Hey! Et la lumière fut en français. So you have a Megalinter YAML file where you will define your strategy of linters, and to help you not being because there is a lot of variables and details, you have auto-completion with this is in VS Code, but if you are using IntelliJ or whatever, it is the same. The JSON schema is on schemastore.org, so there is auto-completion. And even if you make mistake, Megalinter has an analyzer of JSON schema or YAML schema compliance. So Megalinter will tell you your own Megalinter file has a mistake. And also,
so can I ask a question? Like when you first install it, are any of the linters on by default, or is
yes,
it like shipped with everything turned off and you have to go and turn all
all
those?
on by default.
All on by
All.
default.
But
Wow.
when you set up, you will see you have the first one and you will say, this one I care, this one I don't care. But because when you install Megalinter on a project, you don't know what Megalinter will find because every linter, it works with some descriptors. So it will, for some linters will run on all files, like security ones. Some linters for languages will look for file extensions to know if they have to run. So basically, we let Megalinter know what there is, and it will show you all the linters that matches, and then you can select the ones you want to run. And when you are lost, of course, you have 90% generated online documentation, which is, I hope is kind of easy to browse. I will show you a little bit later. And enough speech. I propose you. What about a little demo, Alan?
I would love a demo.
Okay, because we know PowerPoint's nice, but if we want people to really believe us, we have to show. So I will open the new VS Code with nothing in it. I will randomly file. I am fighting with the Zoom.
Oh, the dialogue gets in the way, doesn't it? Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. I have a repository demo Megalinter. So Megalinter is not installed in it, and I have a lot of, I think, some mistakes. So what about installing Megalinter on this repository? So I will clone it. Open it, and I will just run a single command line, which is wake up computer, npx megalinter runner. I take the latest one, install. And so what can this installer do? So first it downloads the npm package in the background, and now there is a Yeoman generator. So it will ask me some questions. What is your project type? I don't know. If I know in advance, I could select a flavor, Java projects, okay. But I don't know. So when I don't know, why not letting Megalinter suggest me? And what CI/CD system do I use? I am on GitHub, so I will use a GitHub action. This choice is important because according what you will choose, it will generate the workflow file ready to use for Megalinter. So GitHub actions. Do I want to detect excessive copy paste? Yes, of course. Spelling mistakes, of course. I want to use the latest version. My main branch is main. I want to validate all sources. Basically, you can say yes, 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 but we have some questions. I want to auto-apply formatting. I don't want to send files on file.io. This one, I think it's not so relevant, so I should remove it. I want to see the elapsed time by linter, and I want to try your security, but it's just some advertising. There is no direct link. It's just as Ox Security is funding a part of Megalinter, there is also a direct link. But it's Megalinter is 100% open source free. There is absolutely no obligation to use Ox, even if it's a great tool. So I overwrite my file. So if I look in the Git diff, I see that the installer created some files. So it created some default linter configuration because I wanted to check the spell and the copy paste, and they need configuration file. So it creates a default configuration file. There is a gitignore. There is my workflow. So my workflow, let's say I want to run it only on pull request. And the most important one, I have my megalinter YAML file. So I have just what I have selected from my question. But as I want to also make a demo of Swift, I will add a variable which because basically the default behavior of megalinter is to keep the log when there is issues. So basically when the command line fails, or to not keep it for to save a space if everything goes well. And as Swift is SBOM generator, it never crashes. So but I think it's something I should add by default. But that's why it is important to prepare our demos. So now I just have to commit to stage before can be good too. To stage to commit and push. And then I will create a pull request in my repository. Did it push? Oh, I am so stupid. I did it on main. So what
Is there a linter to check that?
what would be a demo without a stupid mistake? So as it is a demo repository, and in a real repository, we cannot push directly on main.
Of course, we would never allow that.
So, so I will.
So what you're doing now is just reverting what the install that you just did, so that you could do it again, but in a branch,
So
I guess.
I will
rather.
create a
Right.
branch demo encore. I will quickly do again.
I love watching other people use VS Code because I learn about extensions that I don't know, and
Graph.
I was like, I've never seen this. I need to add this. So this is great.
The real ones, the real good people know how to directly write their Git commands, but I am a lazy one. So
Same.
I like to have some visual stuff and click when it's possible. Maybe I spent too much time in the Salesforce ecosystem. So commit demo encore. Okay. I wanted to add my variable to detail. Very good. Stage commit. This time it will push on the good branch. And I can. And now I will create a pull request. No need to do more. So now I see that when I run a pull request, I will have a job that will be unqueued automatically. It detects the GitHub workflow. And as the first run using the full megalinter flavor probably take a few minutes, I can go back to chat a little while it works and tell you a little bit about how megalinter is maintained and what is the great community around.
So we're seeing the wrong screen, I think, maybe.
I know. I think this one is better.
Nice.
Thank you for noticing. So the great megalinter community. So first, when someone decided to use megalinter, they can expect a big major version barrier. Usually it is matching my vacations from my main CTO job. And we try to release a minor version every month. So with mostly new linters or updated linter versions. And we try to make to not add breaking changes during the year for stability of the tool. And change put some great people on my way. The first one was Kurt, who is a CTO in the biomedical field, and probably there was 100 GitHub stars on Megalinter. So really, it was the beginning. Nobody knew about Megalinter, and the guy said, "Oh, this is interesting. I will work with you." And then also I had Edouard from Quebec in Canada, and Borja from Spain. So we all have different jobs, ways, and we never met each other in real life because we live far away. I hope someday we will. But today we are forced to maintain Megalinter very seriously, and really without them, especially Edouard, who makes an amazing work, it will be really much more difficult. And we also have many contributors, maybe you someday, I don't know. It's in Python. You told me that you know Python.
Oh, well, I have to now, don't I?
And you have more than 100 contributors. So, okay, so it's open source. I think you know the drill. When someone wants something new, if we have the time, we say, okay, we do it. If we don't have, we say, okay, it's in the backlog. And if we don't have, and if it's big, and we have other priorities, we say, you know, that you can submit a pull request. So many people already submitted pull requests, and that's really what I love about open source, because everybody is your colleague, and there is no hierarchy, authority, boss, or whatever. So it forces each other to interact the more smart and respectful or whatever, because we know that sometimes people fight on open source, but basically, if you want your pull request to be merged, you have to agree with the rules of the maintainers. But if the maintainers have too strict rules or are not polite, people won't want to contribute. So it's kind of a micro society in each project, Megalinter and also others, that I really learned many technical stuff, but also interaction stuff with open source.
So you mentioned these four international maintainers. There's also a few bots in there. You know, you're making heavy use of things like Dependabot because you've got so many linters and they all get updated at different cadences. I guess you're constantly getting new issues filed and PRs filed by Dependabot and friends. And so it's constantly moving. It's not staying still. There's always pull requests coming in, right?
We have new. I think I am in the top 50 top maintainers in France in number of commits. Most of these commits are renovate pull request, but yes, there is a big activity. And sometimes when there is a new version of a linter, so we test each of the linter, including Gripe and Encore, and we test that different test keys, that the linter when it succeeds, when it's failed. We test if the SARI footprint format works. We test that it's able to count the number of errors. And sometimes the linters, they change something, there are new rules, etc. So not all the renovate upgrades are, most of them, thankfully, are fast, but sometimes we have to work a little bit more. Or, for example, when there is .NET, when you have to go from .NET 8 to .NET 9, you can see a lot of mess. And thankfully, I have Edouard and Borja about .NET, because I never coded a single line in .NET. I would be lost. We have our specialties. For example, we have another French guy, Laurent Laville. He didn't want to be maintainer, I don't know why, but he's our PHP guy. And every time there is a new trending linter or new PHP version or whatever, he appears, he does his magic, and he waits for the next version. So yes, there are the maintainers, but we are legend.
So I just thought I'd let you know I've been keeping an eye on the repository, and it has finished. So when you're done with this slide, it should be done.
Yeah. And yes, and also thank you Ox Security who supports us, mostly me, but help a lot about that. So
it is wonderful that they support you so that you can continue to work on like a passion project. Like, clearly, it was a passion project born out
yeah,
of,
it
you
still is.
wanting
It still
to.
is.
It still is wonderful.
Because they support me a little, but not enough. Really, if
You got to feed those guinea
I won't
pigs.
say the
That's the
numbers,
thing.
but it's enough to invite some friends to drink some beer or maybe a little bit of champagne from time to time. But I could absolutely not live from it. So
Right.
it's a nice secondary income, and I don't even negotiate. It's I don't do it for money. Really, if I did it for money, I would ask much more. Um,
So
and
this is the result of
yes, this is
Megalinter,
the
the pull
result of the
request that
exercise.
you just created, right?
And we can see we have, so this is a demo repository, so obviously I need a lot of issues. So what linter could we use? Maybe Gripe.
Mm.
So we can see that Gripe detected 70 issues, 70 issues. So what if you want to see what are those issues? So if I go, so there are different ways to go to see the errors. You can go to see the details in console, and you will have an expandable or collapsible list if it displays at some point of linter. So for example, here with Gripe, if you expand
Hmm.
it, you will see the output of the linter, and you have the same for all the linters. So here, Gripe worked well because there are a lot of NPM dependencies who are not up to date, and also several of them who are critical. So this project wouldn't be production ready. And thank you, Megalinter and Gripe, to tell us that there is something risky on your repository. So you can see that in the console. If you prefer to see if you prefer files, some people prefer files. You also you can download the artifacts, and in the artifacts, you will find one file per linter log. So if we open Gripe, we will see the same issues. And if we are interested to know what is the software bill of material of our tool, let's open the result for Sift, if I find it. Yes. So if I open the result for Sift, I have the software bill of material of everything that Sift has found. So we can see there are a lot, and some people don't see the interest of software bill of material, but I work sometimes with big accounts for my other job, and you have CISOs. They say, if I don't have the software bill of material of an application, you will never install it on my servers. So it's really important to know what is in your applications, and Swift can help about that. And
So
I
this is the normal text layout that you would get if you just ran Sift on the command line.
yeah.
Do you have the option to spit out a JSON formatted
I
like
think that
SPDX or?
we should see together how to do that with Megalinter. I think you read my mind, Alan. So, okay, I see that the default output of a linter, like Sift, I would like something different. So, how could I call Sift directly from Megalinter to have a result in Cyclone DX format, for example? I think this is the
Mhm.
standard for SBOM. So I will go in Megalinter documentation and look for Sift. And so I'm pretty sure the Sift website and all the linters document websites are great, but they are not all organized the same, etc. So for each of the linters, you have links, not a lot for Sift. Maybe I did my job wrong. And you have also ways to add new variables that can change the way how Sift is called. So I have direct linked to Sift website, and I want to change the output format. So I will look for, how do I change?
Yeah, if you do -O, there you go, -O format,
Okay,
right.
so -O, so what format, maybe CycloneDX, JSON? You tell me.
Yeah, that's fine, yep.
So we will say to megalinter using our good old megalinter file. So repository sift. So that's why it is useful to have auto-completion because we have many variables. Sift arguments. I will say send output and CycloneDX JSON. It is output or just O? It was the same?
I think you could do both. One of my
If
colleagues
we are
is,
just half sure, let's be sure because we saw the no, but it's the same. With command lines, I don't know about you, but I like to use the full version of the arguments because when you find again the command line 6 months after, it's easier to understand.
yeah,
So
you can use output, yeah.
I added my configuration, and also as we are in the middle of the demo, maybe we want a little bit less of linters to run, so it will be faster. So maybe I will want to use a flavor. So if I want to use a flavor, again, I don't remember where is the menu, but I know there is a security flavor. And for each flavor, basically, it's like mini version of megalinter with just a subset of linters. So as it is based on a Docker image, the Docker image is smaller, so it works faster. And I see in the security flavor, we have gripe, we have sift. So if I just want the security linter to run the security linters, I will go to change the workflow and not use the main image here, which is here. So I will use a flavor, and again in my documentation, I will see that I can call this flavor like that. And now I commit
So something that's just been pointed out in the chat by one of the SIF developers, Keith, is that actually you can output multiple. So you can output to a JSON file, for example, but you could also output the table format as well. So you would get the log and a file as well. You know, it can do multiple outputs. So just in case
and we
anyone
could
was
also
thinking,
say because when for all the artifacts generated by a megalinter job, they are generated in a folder named megalinter reports. So if we want the file as a standalone and not just taken as the output of the command line, we could send arguments to sift linter to say, okay, so your output file is in megalinter reports, whatever, in format, etc. So you can have another job after, take it and send it to whatever tool you want.
We've had a question come up. I'll answer it, or I'll ask it.
I want questions. I love questions.
Yeah, so do I. If not contributing to the code, so someone who may not know Python, how do you support? How else could you support Megalinter? How else can someone contribute in some way?
I love this question, and I think the answer can be the same for any open source project. If just being a user of an open source tool is already super unique, because without a community, an open source tool is useless. Then you can also do what I did a long time ago, because every linter I had in megalinter, of course, they have my GitHub star. Show your support by starring the repository, because it's not an exact science, but repos who have many stars They are put in highlight on GitHub, and even me, when I want to add a new linter in Megalinter, if there is 5 stars, I won't even look the rest, because the number of stars is one of the indicators of the community support. Even if you can buy stars on the darknet, I never did that because I'm not a cheater. So you can star. You can also report any issue that you will see, because we have all open source maintainers. We have our own test classes, etc., in our CI, of course, but nobody is perfect. So when you see an error, please report it with the more details possible that can help us reproduce the issue. And
I think you're
also,
right. That is like general advice on open
yeah.
source. Is there
And
is
also,
there like a
if you
wish list
don't,
thing that you would
yeah,
love, or something you've not quite got to yet that you'd love someone else like to take a look at?
exactly. And if you like to write not code but just words, you can also write articles. You can write blog posts, LinkedIn posts, Twitter, whatever. And you can see there is already a lot of people who wrote. I don't speak Japanese, but I like the article anyway. We have a lot of people, or someone who is developer relation at CloudBees, the company who built Jenkins. So talk about the open source tools that you use. It helps them, because even if you don't code directly, when you talk about an open source repository, more people will use it, and in these people, there will be people who code. So
Right.
community is very important. And the last one,
Um,
the
Sorry,
last
go
one,
on.
what you can do, I think I have to tell you this one. On the repositories, you have a little button named sponsors. You can show your appreciation by you can give $1 a month, or just $1 period. Just to be honest, I don't have a lot, because people know that I'm backed by Ox Security, so it's normal. I don't have a lot of. Really, I think I earn $25 by month from the sponsors. But Edouard, my biggest co-maintainer, is not backed by Ox Security, and he works a lot of hours. So if any of you viewers want to do something nice, don't support me, support Edouard.
Wonderful. There's one little thing I wanted to mention on your documentation site. Something that I've personally quite like is there's a page on your documentation that says "they use us," which I guess is the data from the dependents on GitHub, like sorted
Yeah,
by
I have this one.
stars.
Yeah, because and I created a Python library named Python GitHub dependent info, because the GitHub API doesn't give the list. So I created a little command line tool that scraps GitHub pages doing
Nice.
next, and create the result. And that's how we created the use Megalinter. And it's really funny, because I can say I am proud that the NASA, the NSA, the real NSA, they have an open source repository using Megalinter. And I
Wonderful.
never spoke to any of them. And the English Ministry of Justice, there is Boeing. There are big names using Megalinter for small repositories. But Microsoft use them for their documentation on 1,000 or maybe 2,000 stars repos. So it's really nice to discover sometime, oh, there is a new company that is using Megalinter, and that's worth
Wonderful.
any sponsorship. And I
So
was back
I don't know if you had
before.
anything else. We're rapidly well, we're at the end of our slot. Is there any
So
like last
just
comments
clicking,
you wanted to make?
I just click on the new run of Megalinter just to
Nice.
see if Gripe output what we wanted to. So I just click. So dear viewers, it has not been repeated, not planned or whatever. So if it works, it means that it's real stuff. So I really hope that it will work. So Sift. Magnifique.
Look at that.
So it's not formatted, but who cares? So we can see that by just reading Megalinter documentation that brings you to the linter documentation, we know how to specialize, how to customize. So again, Megalinter is the tool, but you own the strategy and you customize whatever you need.
Wonderful. That's super. Thank you so much for taking the time to show us Megalinter and talk about the history and how it all fits together. It's been wonderful to talk to you, and thanks for including Sift and Gripe in there. And you may find some pull requests coming soon.
Really, I think they are great tools. And anyway, if us people who do open source, we don't back each other, who will? So I have absolutely no problem promoting open source tools that I like to use and that I think are really relevant.
Super.
Like Encore Ones.
So we'll wrap up at that point. We do have one question, but I think it might. Oh dear, my camera's died. So let me just hold on one second.
I have it too.
There we go. Switch camera. There we go. So yeah, I just wanted to thank you.
It's a long one, the question. Yeah. Basically,
I think it's we kind of touched on it earlier. The fact that there's a lot of churn.
Renovate does a lot of stuff. And thanks again to Edouard for having and Borja to have configured Renovate because I didn't. So we have pull requests automatically generated every day. As we have test cases for all the linter, we run all of them for each pull request. So if they are green, we just merge, and the documentation is automatically updated from that. Every kind of 1 month, depends from our activity, we release a new minor version with the updated linters. But we want our linters to be the most up-to-date possible. And if, for example, there is a new version of your favorite linters, but Megalinter want to release a new version during, 3 weeks, you can also, I don't want to overflow, but if you look at pre-commands in the Megalinter documentation, you will see that you can call your own command lines before calling Megalinter. So you could install the latest version of your preferred linter even before it is embedded in an official Megalinter release. And if there is a linter you like and the event maintainers of Megalinter told you, no, we don't want it, you can make Megalinter plugins. So you can also describe the behavior of your linter on an external file and add a reference to your description file in the Megalinter YAML, and your plugin will be called. So we have 4-5 plugins today. So when people want to add the new linter and we say, sorry, but you created your linter 2 weeks ago, too soon. But you can make a plugin, and if the plugin looks like, we add a link to the plugin in our documentation, but reminding you use this plugin at your own risk because we don't watch it.
Right. Wonderful. That's so cool. So I will be posting next week a blog post that's kind of a summary of this with links to all of the things that you've talked about, and links to your LinkedIn if people want to get in touch with you, and links to the project and all of that good stuff will all be in that blog post. And we'll also publish this this video as well, maybe with the beginning slightly trimmed off with my mistakes.
Oh, it's authentic. It's okay. But you're the boss. And thanks again for inviting me because I am often invited to talk about Salesforce stuff, and I love talking about Salesforce stuff because it's my main job. But talking about my preferred open source tool, it's really a pleasure, and especially being invited by a company who is so actively promoting open source. Really, it's an honor. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Well, I hope to speak to you again soon. Take care. Good luck with the rest of the week and with Megalinter itself. And take care and see everyone again soon.
Have a nice evening. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.